this is something that was really inappropriate, really inappropriate. I think it's just, as I said, sour grapes. She had testified for the prosecution. This would have never happened.
So you're saying pure retaliation?
Absolutely pure retaliation. That's clear and simple.
A crowd of over 100 attended an open house in Hinckley tonight to examine the tentative agreement that would amend an 1837 treaty regarding hunting and fishing rights.
The transfer of some 7,500 acres of land, the payment of $10 million over 3 years, those are the highlights. In return for that, the band has given up their rights to commercially fish any lakes in the ceded territory, and or use any commercial activities for big game and or timber.
The process has been long and difficult for negotiators trying to resolve a court dispute that began in 1988.
We've discussed with tribal members that, we have traded off commercial right for a subsistence right. And, that tribal members understand that this is a difficult set of negotiations to go through and have agreed that they can probably live with that.
But the agreement is far from acceptable for many groups. There are concerns about an exclusive fishing zone on the west side of the lake, the perception of rights being sold, and the cries of sports anglers who say the rights granted in the agreement are simply outrageous.
What we really object to is the fact that they can fish with so many more lines than a sport angler, and the fact that they have exclusive control, a very discriminatory program. They have exclusive control to some acreage.
The Minnesota legislature and the Mille Lacs Band must approve the plan before it goes into effect.
The Mille Lacs Band and the state legislature will vote on the treaty settlement in March. Until then, all sides of this complicated issue are digging in their heels and waiting. In Hinckley, Derek Hines, News 6.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you.
Flashy threads and sideburns aren't the normal attire for postal workers, but today was a special occasion.
A lot of fun, yeah. If you're going to be at work, you might as well try to have as much fun as you can, right?
Return to sender. This is the Elvis fans are remembering today, a young heartthrob who changed the music world and became a legend in his own time. And the legend lives on.
He's good. He's the king. Rock and roll. He's Elvis, and there's nobody else that's ever going to take that place.
Well, he was just one of the greatest entertainers that ever lived.
Fans of all ages came to purchase the stamps today, even the new postmaster.
And I'm waiting in line like everyone else to get an Elvis stamp. So actually, to compete for my installation today with Elvis, I was second. Far different and way at the very end of the line.
Now the sign says Elvis is in the building. Of course, we all know this isn't the real Elvis, but the gimmick is working for the post office. They printed up 500 million of these stamps, and they expect to make $20 million off it by the time it's all over. They don't expect any of his parcels to be marked return to sender. In Duluth, Janine Johnson, News 6.
Some of it's going to be used on trails. Some of it's going to be used, if the people want it, have it of their own and use it for mulch in their yards, they can do that. Also, it'll be used for fuel.
The start of the 1993 John Bear Grace Marathon drew a huge crowd to Ordine Field in Duluth to send the mushers off in style. The daytime start has more than one advantage to mushers on the trail.
You know, it gets you a chance to get out there and you can see everything that's going on. With this big of a string, as excited they are, I think this day start is a great idea.
I like having it earlier in the day this year because we get more participation, and of course there's no wind, so it really is nice out today.
Lori is wearing bib number 12. She is
One by one, the teams were led to the starting line and sent on their way. After months of hard work, it comes down to this, the start of 500 miles of snow up the North Shore. The teams prepared for the first leg of the journey on the trail to Grand Portage. Most of the mushers let the dogs be excited for them.
I've had a better team before. Actually, these dogs are really good, but for financial reasons, I haven't trained as hard and kind of came at the last minute. So my goal is really just to get to the finish line with all 11 dogs looking stronger than they started.
I think we're going to see very few actual that do not finish this year.
Each musher started the race confident that the training and patience will pay off.
Take it easy on the dogs. I want to get all 16 of them up to Portage.
In Duluth, Derek Hines, News 6.
This farm in the Meadowlands area is one of several backdrops for the filming of Iron Will. Spectators are being kept at arm's length during the first few weeks of shooting.
We're mainly from California. We're not used to the weather. We're working with dogs. And until you get the rhythm of the film going and everybody gets into the groove of dealing with 22 below at 6 o'clock in the morning, you know, when they're used to surfs up, I just thought it was a good idea to make sure everything ran very smoothly.
Trucks, heavy equipment, and a luncheon tent surround the set, which is off limits to television cameras. Next door, the Ed and Gail Graham home. They've known since September that they would be brushing elbows with movie stars. So far, they've enjoyed their new neighbors, but they say life for them hasn't changed much.
Well, we're here real early in the morning. It hasn't changed all that much that I can tell. There's a lot more excitement than there is usually.
It's something different. It's not an everyday thing. Not everybody gets to see all these people and meet all these people.
Production of Iron Will is expected to last through March. Filming at several locations in the Northland is planned, including downtown Duluth.
Everybody's been great. You know, Duluth is great. I cannot give it enough accolades. We're really having a good time. The weather is our problem right here, and you know, everything's on schedule. It's wonderful.
Iron Will, the story of a dog sled race in the early part of the century, stars Mackenzie Aston as a young musher, the director Charles Hayde, who played Renko in television's Hill Street Blues series.
Now, I have to change the tension here. The next step.
Catherine Bogan is doing a lot to ease tension, especially on the snow and ice-bound set of Iron Will. She's making mucklucks to keep the actors warm and in character.
They wanted me to keep the mucklucks looking as though they were made out of materials that would have been available in the period of the film, which was around 1915. So the colors I've kept in the dark and natural color range, and I've been careful to use beads and things that would have been typical of that time.
Catherine is a professional seamstress. She makes everything from wedding gowns to boat sails. She got into the muckluck business after buying this pair at a rummage sale 10 years ago. In the worst of winter, she found them warm and dry. After trial and error, testing various hides and patterns, today she makes her own mucklucks.
For whatever reasons, this suede, I put this on the outside. It seems to prevent slipping, and they're real easy to walk in.
When it comes to Catherine's work, her time and attention to detail is becoming well known through word of mouth. That's how Hollywood found out about her and why she's now busy creating footwear for the stars.
You know, I don't use a whole lot of markings or anything on this. It's just something I kind of go by, have a sense about when it's right.
Lined with sheepskin and perfect for cold weather, the movie people sensed Catherine's mucklucks were right for the part. And as soon as she finishes a pair, they pick them up and deliver them to the set. While she plays down her involvement in the making of Iron Will, the odds are the benefactors of her work won't be, especially in the middle of a cold and snowy Minnesota winter.
Living in Duluth has its odd moments, but a moose visiting the downtown area is more odd than usual. After camping out in a backyard yesterday, the unique visitor found its way to the rail yards near I-35. It was there the DNR officials decided to go to work.
We have a vet here that will try to tranquilize the animal, and when it's down, we'll try to winch it onto the truck, take it out in the woods, and hopefully release it.
Moving a moose in a direction it doesn't want to go isn't easy. Tranquilizer darts with the chemical etorphin could be used to temporarily disable the moose.
Well, if everything goes routinely, the moose will become unconscious in about, usually it's 15 to 30 minutes. Sometimes they have to be dosed more than once, and then it'll drop. And
one dart was fired. The moose began to run around the rail yard and gradually slowed down. It took a second dart to finally sedate the huge creature. The next step was to move the moose. A bag was placed over its eyes so it wouldn't be frightened. The DNR then lifted the moose onto a flatbed trailer to be taken back to the forest. Once there, the tranquilizers will wear off and the moose can resume a more rural lifestyle. In Duluth, Derek Hines, News 6.
Excuse me, sir. Yeah, let's go.
Projects go any place at all without the involvement of the chamber, and very encouraged. It's very supportive of. This is going to be a focal point. This is going to be a major national and international center for training and for research and development and initiatives to save lives in time of crash. 2, 3, dig. All right. All right. Additional request is on hand for further funding. We're looking forward to the groundbreaking today, as well as the ribbon cutting ceremony next year. I want to thank
Miller Hospital must obey the law and fulfill its mission to provide some health care for those people caught in the middle, the working people of this town who are just strapped.
The news that Eveleth Mines will be fully operational by spring is welcomed by the 700 employees who were laid off last November when the plant shut down. But the company is not out of the woods yet.
There is no denying that Eveleth's situation has become critical. In fact, we are fighting for survival.
Today, company representatives gave a progress report to the governor's task force on mining on the plant's cost-cutting efforts. Faced with foreign pressures, the taconite plant is under the gun to cut production costs by between $8 and $10 per ton to stay competitive. So far, only half that goal's been reached.
Is $10 enough today? I say maybe not today. We thought it was enough when we set the goal back in September of 92. But the conditions, economic conditions, continue to deteriorate.
But even with cutting costs, there's no guarantee the plant will have sufficient orders to remain fully operational this year. Eveleth needs 4 million tons to operate profitably. It's only received 3.
The outlook for 1993 on additional tonnage is not real positive. Perhaps 100 or 200,000 tons, but we don't We don't think that the 1 million tons is there to pick up in 93. What our goal is to get in a position so that we get it in 94.
But the question is, does Evelyn have the time? In Duluth, Amy Rutledge, News 6.
The experts say Indian gaming was a $3 billion industry last year, an increase of about $2 billion from the year before, and they say it's still growing. Good news for Indian reservations, but not such good news for others in the hospitality industry.
We're getting killed by the gaming industry going on in the Indian reservations. We're getting killed by the gaming industry, the pull tab industry, and we're getting killed by the lottery. I mean, they're all killing us, although the casinos are doing the best job of killing us.
Those in the Minnesota hospitality industry say they saw a 25% decline in business last year, and they expect that to continue unless something changes. This week, a bill will be introduced into the legislature calling for the legalization of video lottery machines in private hospitality establishments. The machines would be owned by the private business, but the lottery game would be controlled by the state, with both sharing in the profits. Governor Arnie Carlson has said he won't support an expansion of the gaming industry, but the coalition says this would be just a different lottery game, not a new form of gambling. They might have more success in Minnesota than in Wisconsin, where the governor has made it clear what his position is.
We will limit the spread of gambling in Wisconsin once and for all.
The bill will be introduced into the Minnesota House and Senate later this week, and a vote is expected next month. In Duluth, Barbara Riles, News 6.
On a 50-foot lot on what we're anticipating is going to be an average street project will cost a homeowner about $1,000, which will be spread out over a 15-year, can be spread out over a 15-year period.
There is nothing else to shoot. Charlie Brown will not be in evidence till about the middle of April. And when he comes out, he'll be hungry and he'll have a few wood ticks on his ears and he'll be real happy to see everybody, but he does not believe in winter at all.